Welcome to the Scarguitar Show. I'm your host, Per Nilsson. The Scarguitar Show episodes are live streamed exclusively to my Patreon community, and the episode you're about to watch has been edited and truncated from its original version. If you want to watch the full unedited episodes, sign up to my Patreon on the live streams tier. You'll get immediate access to an archive of the Scarguitar Show episodes, lessons, music, backing tracks, transcriptions of solos as well as full songs, and my private Discord server where you can interact with me and my community of Patreon members. I started my Patreon in October 2024 to serve as the main hub for my solo career, a place where I gather my closest fans and friends and share my solo music, my knowledge and my time with them. As an independent artist, having this direct connection with and the support of my top fans has been nothing short of incredible. Please take a moment to check out my Patreon and consider signing up. Even as just a free member, it really helps. Alright, let's roll the episode. Enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one. It's a decent little crowd. And thank you for joining us. So let me introduce to you Mr. Andrew Gillion.
Hello there. That was very formal introduction there.
Why don't you call yourself Andrew anymore?
Well, when I was about 5 years old, I told my parents, I'm done with the Andrew thing. It's Andy now. All right, there's a new guy in town.
All right.
And that was it. I demanded to be called Andy. So there you go.
It reminds me of this time when I confronted my parents and asking them why they gave me such a lame name. Because Per is, it sounds lame for English-speaking people, but it's even lame in Sweden. It's just a lame...
Is it?
Lame name, yeah. It's like 3 letters.
So, because does it annoy you when people, probably mostly from Britain, say Per Nilsson? Because it's pear, isn't it? Like the I don't mind. Pear. I think it's almost like a sort of an upgrade. But I was confronting my parents, like, why did you give me such a bullshit name? Why didn't you name me something cool like Luke Skywalker? Yeah, I did the same thing. I was really angry. I was angry that my name was Andrew.
Yeah,
I was really angry about it. And then the logical thing was to just call myself Andy. And there we go. So that's it. And also, it's a stage name, so that if I get too famous, nobody will know, who I really am. No one's going to be able to guess.
All right.
So it works both ways. She was like, "We're done. It's raining. It's not stopped raining in 18 years. Let's leave. Let's go to Australia." So we did. And we just never looked back. So here I am. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, someone was asking me how you and I met, one of my patrons. And I think I remember meeting you first at NAMM. And I think you were just walking around and I could tell it was you by your sort of the silhouette of your beard was protruding from your face, and I tapped you on the shoulder and we had a little chat. I think you were wearing a Paul Wardingham shirt and he had just done a guest solo for me. And then I think I bumped into you a couple of times.
I want to remember hearing someone say my name, and I was like, "Oh, it's someone up on the upper floor," but it wasn't. It was just Andy, because he's like 2.5 meters tall.
Yes,
it's so funny when I seen like photos of you and Ola Englund, like at NAMM or something, and it's like you're the one guy who like out.
No, we're the
Ola
same.
him.
We actually did this. We tried. I tried to out Ola him, but in the end, we were exactly the same height. So it's a rare thing. And then I came to see you, and you were performing in Hollywood.
You should wear those booster shoes.
No, you don't need me to be. I'll scrape my head on the ceiling if I do that. Do you remember that? Do you remember that gig you did? It was like a masterclass you did in Hollywood or something, and I came along to that with my girlfriend. That was 2019 or something.
Yes. At
and
MI.
then I had a little... and I had a little feel of your guitar that day for the first time. Yeah. And then I guess it's kind of just been an internet friendship. And we've obviously had the pleasure of collabing with you on my Arcade Metal album.
Yes.
As well.
I was the final boss or something.
You were the final boss, my dude. You were.
But you
still are.
But you defeated me.
Well, I think it's open to interpretation. I think there might be a sequel. I think we'll need a sequel to that.
Mm.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I find it like the way I often find it in our in the industry or in the circle of musicians, us like guitar players, us guitar nerds, soloists, lead players, that we are very often aware of each other's existence, and most of us are, pretty non-competitive, like on a personal level. When you meet people, it's not like you like boxers who like spit on each other and like starts a fight even before the ring. I mean, people can be competitive, that they have a lot of ambition and drive putting out music, but not so much on a personal level. So I feel like when I'm attending the NAMM show and in these places where all the other players are, and I meet people for the first time, it's almost always, when two guitar players recognize each other, like, it's that guy. It's like, it's almost instantly, like all the time, like, oh, so we're friends now.
Yeah, it's like internet friends is a different thing, where you feel you really know people from just having a few messages on the internet or seeing, what they do. And it's crazy to me because I now feel like I'm like on the same sort of peer level as some of my heroes. I mean, I'm gonna make you blush, but like, you were a guitar hero of mine when I grew up in my teens. I was listening to Scar Symmetry when I was like 14, and now I'm sitting here on I guess some sort of podcasty type video call with you. That's crazy to me. And it's the same, with Matt Heafy. I really looked up to him, and now I think he came out and said I was one of his favorite composers or something. And it's just like, it's mind blowing. Jeff Loomis is another one I consider a friend now, but back when I was 15, he would have been like a poster on my wall. So it is really crazy. But it's super cool. It's everyone's musical journeys overlap.
The first time I met Jeff Loomis, he kissed me on the head. We play in Seattle, and he came out to the show, and he came on to our tour bus. We shared tour bus with Dark Tranquility, so I think he knew them. So he came into our tour bus, and I suppose he was also a fan of my playing, because we just talked a little bit. But then when he was leaving, he just like, I was sitting down in the front lounge in the couch, and he was leaning down and I placed a little kiss on my head, which was funny.
A nice guy.
Yeah. And then I gotten to know him over the years since.
I studied piano from like, I guess, the age of 5 till the age of 11 or 12. And then I got really frustrated with scales. I wanted to play, I didn't want to learn how someone else thinks music works. I wanted to discover how music worked for me. And I realized that it wasn't until I picked up a guitar when I was around 11 or 12 that I actually discovered you could play music and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Rather than memorize pieces and do tests and exams and go to these horrible piano recitals with all these crazy talented rich kids, and I was this not so rich kid, and I would play everything super fast because I was really nervous. I'd play everything double tempo, and I would never actually have any emotional connection to what I was playing. I was just trying to nail it. I was trying to be perfect. And then when I picked up the guitar, I really discovered the beauty of writing music and playing music for fun, and that feeling. Do you remember that feeling when you were a kid, when you were a lot younger, playing guitar for the first time? It's kind of like a relationship, the honeymoon period of relationship. You just cannot put it down.
Yeah.
So I've always been, when in terms of composing or arranging orchestral stuff, I just do it from the heart. I don't know how my brain operates. It just knows. It just feels things and knows, and it goes, "Ooh, that made me feel this, so I'm gonna do that." And yeah, it's strange. It's strange, but I've never relied on theory to compose anything. Oddly,
I don't know. When I heard about like secondary dominance, it's like in like diatonic harmony, when it's like everything, like that's all C major, it's all the white keys.
Yeah.
But then you can have like secondary dominance to move.
Oh, that's nice.
So to move in between those chords, and when I discovered that, I was like, oh, this is a sound I've heard in songs, and I love it. The winner takes it all.
Yes. Yeah.
So, then you discover that, and
there's a part of my brain it lights up when you do those changes.
Yeah, and then you can just put a dominant in like before any chord to lead into it, and you discover something like that, and you can go crazy with it and put that everywhere and explore that concept until it's a part of your vocabulary. Should we talk a little bit about Patreon?
Yeah.
I still have my honeymoon phase because I'm just like I'm like five weeks into this. How long have you been doing yours?
I think I've been running a Patreon for, I think it's been 4 years actually. Yeah, I think I started in the height of the shitstorm that was the pandemic. I think it was 2020 when I started. So yeah, I think it's been 4 years, and it's been incredible and so important for independent musicians, or even musicians who are on a label. I think people need to realize that your favorite musician probably isn't making a great deal of money from just selling records anymore. Or from touring. Yeah. It's sad. It's a sad reality because musicians have to keep trying different things, selling t-shirts and everything you can think of. I mean, I sell socks. I sell these socks. That's how crazy it's got. I've considered selling my own brand of tea bags, but we have to find other ways to make money. And I think the musicians who are doing
tea
really
bags,
well,
would they be AG tips?
Yeah. Oh my god! Do you know how long I've been trying to figure out a name for this? I've been thinking for ages.
You're welcome.
What can I call it? AG tips. Brilliant. Thank you. If people don't know what PG tips are, it might fall short of being getting that response. But yeah, AG tips. Thank you, Per. I appreciate that. Would you like to join the marketing team by any chance?
Yes.
You're on it now.
I dig PG tips.
Yeah.
Is that a brand you like?
Well, I drink Yorkshire tea. I'm a Yorkshire tea drinker, but I dabble in various, dabble in the art of drinking tea. So I do drink, dip my toe into some Twinings every now and then. PG tips is good. Yeah. AG tips is better though. AG tips, get it now. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely need to do that. Well, what were we talking about?
Patreon.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to let people know, how important it is and how thankful we are that there's another way that people can support us independently. You know, and I guess, you're new to this, and I guess there's also this nervousness about it. Am I offering enough? Am I stretched too thin? Am I doing too much?
Yeah. I mean, when a few weeks ago, I called you up and we had a meeting like this, but not public, and I asked
we
you.
Were naked.
Yes. I picked your brain about things, and you told me not to be too concerned if like people are dropping off and so on. I had my first. That was probably after that. I had my first person signing up. Person signing up on the $20 tier, so it's that's like a fair chunk of money, and whenever I can and I have the time and I get a new follower, I try to send a personal message and be like, hey Chad, how's it going? Thank you for signing up. But a little bit something. It doesn't take me too long, and I think it's a nice touch. And I haven't managed to do it with everyone, but a lot of people. So I sent a little message to this person, and then I see like that he canceled his subscription right away. And I mean,
but because of the message,
it felt like that. But I mean, obviously, he probably came in, wanted to like give me a tip, a little donation, see what's going on, and then and like not commit to anything else. I mean, he might be back already. I can't keep track of everyone's names, and maybe.
But it feels bad, doesn't it?
But it felt so strange.
Yeah.
And then like when I started my Patreon, it felt like it went up really fast. I mean, I'm still. It's pretty. It's not a lot of people on. Like the paying members is not 3 digits yet, but we're getting there slowly. But so I kind of quickly rose to where I am in the first 3 weeks, and now I'm 5 weeks in. And the last couple of weeks it's been super slow, and there's like several days I don't get anyone, and then like on one day 2 guys canceled. And I got all stressed out. I was like, I hit the peak, and now I'm going down. But then on one day I had 3 new followers, so like all on the $20 tier, and I was like, ooh, I was celebrating. Like, open the champagne.
I know, exactly. I mean, this is the thing. Is like, I think people don't know how financially stressed a lot of musicians are because of this archaic idea that musicians. If you have an album out, then you must be killing it, and if you're touring, you're big enough to be famous. You must be famous, and it's like anyone can do this now. Anyone can be a DIY musician to a certain degree. But it's sad actually that some of the big bands I know are they're not really killing it, like financially speaking.
Yeah,
it's a problem with the industry. It's the problem with how things have gone. I've always been an advocate for trying to explain that to people without giving a sob story. I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but it's just, guys, you need to realize we're not killing it. And
even
so
bands
grateful
that
for the
you
support on Patreon.
Bands that you would think, these guys are probably millionaires. And you can sometimes see in comments that, like, why is he complaining? He must be a multi-millionaire. And then I'm like, no, that band is smaller than Scar Symmetry. I know that they are not multi-millionaires because I'm not.
Yeah, there's bands that are... there are bands, I'm not going to name anyone, right? But there's some bands out there, for example, who are big, I would say big metal bands. And I know for a fact they've gone on tour for a year and they've only broken even, and they've like made no profit. I know some bands that have spent $20,000 to go on tour. They've actually paid to go on that tour, and they've made no money. They've lost $20K. Like this is happening, and it seemed to me when I was going on tour that a lot of the time everyone else is making money, but the band, right? So it's like I remember the merch person on one of the tours was bringing in like, I saw them counting the money. I'm like, this is insane. You've got the tour manager, the bus driver, you've got the merch person, you've got everyone surrounding the musicians seem to be killing it, because they're kind of like regular jobs. They wouldn't be there unless they're getting paid, obviously, and we should all be getting paid, right? But the musicians, the problem is when the musicians, we want it so much, we're kind of prepared to do it for nothing, and that has created a real problem.
Yeah,
because we're used to working for free. We're used to just doing it out of the passion. But we can't give 100%, especially time. If we have to work a day job as well, there's just no time or energy left. Mm-hmm. I've done it for years and years. I worked a full-time job for like 15 years while trying to be a touring musician, writing albums. And it broke me doing that, you know? You've got like one or 2 hours a day, and then if you want to stay up till 2 a.m. every night and piss your wife off or whatever, you can try, and then you end up being just a zombie. So Patreon's super important because it's a way for people to support the musician independently, and no one else can take a scoop apart from, obviously, there's a little fee that Patreon will take, but it's like record labels will take so much. I don't want to open a big hot topic on that potentially, but I mean, feel free to talk about it if you want. But from my experience with being an independent artist versus being on a label, oh boy, it does raise a lot of questions. I'll just say that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So you started yours during the pandemic.
Yeah. It was a strange time, and I needed to support my, my future and what I'm doing, and I didn't want to. I was desperate to not go into a full-time job. I think I quit my last job. I quit when I was just about to go on the American tour with Mors Principium Est, and I said, well, I'm going for 5 weeks, so I might as well just quit the job. And then I said, I've got this album, Never After, I've been writing for a number of years. That was my first solo album, and I said, I'm going to bring that out, and I'm going to quit. I'm going to go on this tour, and then I'm going to bring out that album. And I just knew. I was like, everyone just, like, people saying, don't do it. And I was like, no, I have to. It doesn't matter if it financially ruins me. I need to bring out an independent solo record once and for all. And then I've not gone back into a job I hate since. And that was like 7 years ago, I guess. Thank God. But Patreon is one of the biggest reasons it's allowed me to continue to make albums. I would never have been able to put out 3 albums, four albums or something in the last 5 years if it wasn't for Patreon. So thanks, guys.
Yeah,
it really helps.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's head over to the chat a little bit. I feel like I will left the people hanging.
I think so too.
And Luke asks, there's a question that just popped up in my mind. Per, have you heard anything from Jonas Kjellgren in the last years? As far as I know, he couldn't keep up with Scar Symmetry and started working with Peter Täckgren as a sound guy in Peter's studio. Well, he didn't leave so much because of his work as a studio guy. He joined another band, a Swedish band called Raubtier, German name but a Swedish band, as their bass player, and they were really popular in Sweden at the time. They probably still are. So he didn't have time, like the tours we did, it was all conflicting, and maybe his heart wasn't in it anymore or so. I don't really know, but he decided to leave. I think maybe it was a little bit clashing with his studio work as well. He doesn't work for Peter, but he shares. He actually rents a studio space in Peter Täckgren's studio facilities, but they have separate studios. But I very rarely hear from Jonas. He started a new band with our singer Robert called Iron Master, which are really cool. And we live in different cities. We're like 2 hours from each other, so we'd never run into each other either. So, and I find that's like how it goes with a lot of people I have worked with, like ex band members and session musician and bands I played with. It's like when you're not working together and you're not on the tour bus together anymore, it's like, yeah, sort of drift apart, because a lot of these people are people that I mean I met them through my work and through the bands, and then so there wasn't a relationship before that, and then we had a working relationship and a friendship during our time together, and then when we went our separate ways, we didn't, like, the thing that was the strongest like connection between us was gone because we weren't working together anymore. So that's usually the case. That's usually how it goes, though occasionally I think about Jonas and I miss his pretty little face. And he's asking for more about that stuff, but that's good. I really appreciate from the patron members to, come with feedback on what kind of stuff that they that is resonating with them, that they dig.
Yeah.
So I know what to do, because sometimes, I don't get a lot of feedback on everything I post, like lessons and stuff. And I don't know, do you get a lot of comments on when you post stuff?
I mean, yes and no. Sometimes, and I've had to ask people for feedback too. I think it's really important, because this, we're trying to provide extra content or exclusive stuff for you guys. So there's some stuff which is easy for us to do that you might love, and there's some stuff that is really hard to do, like give a lesson or do a 4-hour live stream where a challenge thing which maybe only 2 people actually care about. And if that's the case, we kind of want to know, so that we're giving you maximum of our energy and time doing the right things,
Yeah.
So I have on my Discord, I have a little feedback and suggestions, tab, and people can go and write. But I often check in and ask, what do you guys actually want to see? What are you here for? Is it the vlogs? Is it the live streams? Because I don't want to, I think people won't want me to waste a lot of my time doing something that they don't want to see, when I could just do something that they do want to see and aim for more of that content. I think it's important to know what people want. Yeah.
I suppose like one way to measure things is to see how many people you have. If like I haven't looked at exactly how you have organized your tier system, but I have my $10 is like lessons and the $20 one is live streams and backing tracks. Now I just can't remember what else was on the $10 tier, but those tiers are pretty much the same size. It's the same amount of people. So
yeah, but you got to understand also there's some people, God bless them, who just want to support you, and that's the other thing. We talk more about Patreon itself. There's people who just want to financially back you because they believe in what you're doing, and it means something to them. They believe it's important to have that, your art in the world. So they don't necessarily need to show up to the live streams. Maybe they're in the background, maybe they never comment, maybe you never know they're there, right? But there's some people
maybe they aren't even there.
Well, they might not be, but I found that over the years that some people are just they want to hear the albums, for example, and they know you exist, your music comes out every couple of years, and they're there for that, and they just want to contribute a bit more money to support you doing that in your own time. And maybe it's not so interesting to them to hear about double dominance and theory and stuff like that because they don't even play an instrument. And so you can't, I think sometimes it's easy to beat ourselves up because we're doing a live stream and suddenly there's only one person and it's super awkward and you're like, oh my God. But I think you just need to go in with the mentality of, I'm here. It doesn't matter if I'm doing it for myself. I'll just keep going. And if people want to support me, then great.
Yeah.
That sort of pressure we put on ourselves as Patreon creators, I think the people who are supporting you, they don't want you to feel pressure. They don't want you to feel any more stressed. Why would they? They want you to thrive. They want you to be the best you can be. So I don't think I've ever had any like complaints from people like, you're not giving us enough. Usually people, my patrons are so supportive. They're just like, dude, take a break. We don't need a stream this month. Things like that. They can see that I burn out. And I think there's a real risk of burning out by doubling your workload with Patreon.
Yeah.
So that's a big pitfall to avoid as well. It's something that it's not a perfect science. You kind of have to just go with it and listen.
There's a balance to be found.
There is definitely a balance. Yeah.
Andy, this is from Shahar Bar. Andy, thanks for shopping the vinyl. I love it. Also love that you shipped it in a pizza box. You shipped it in a pizza box?
Yeah, this is the hack that I came up with a couple of years ago. That every vinyl I ship is in a pizza box because this isn't a stylistic choice. This is the best way I've found. There's a real science behind pizza boxes. There's like different sizes of the corrugated cardboard. I've had to go for this specific type of box, this is the best way. And none of the vinyls that I've sent out have arrived damaged. Whereas a lot of time, if you buy those, I bought those vinyl packages things, and they're just rubbish. Your vinyl's just going to bend or break.
Did you get the pizza boxes? Did you go down to your local pizzeria and ask them for a few hundred?
I did. I got some test ones first, but they said, no, we can't sell you 200 pizza boxes. So I found like a warehouse that print just pizza boxes. And I went in and I tried all of them. It was actually incredibly stupid and weird. But I went in and some guy with a forklift truck picking up crates of pizza boxes. And I said, I want to feel every box. This is how much effort I put into my productions, right? I'm like, I want to know that it's sturdy enough and it's big enough. And there were certain pizza boxes that folded over the top, which means if you shake it, the vinyl will they will have a millimeter to shake. I wanted one that folded inside so that there was no space. There's a whole pizza box science. It's a big thing, but I nailed it. Yeah.
Do you like put like an extra sprinkle of like oregano and some like chili flakes?
Sometimes you get a pizza and in the box it looks like a little white table that stops the top of the lid hitting the pizza. So somebody was saying I should get those, and I never did it, but it's such a great idea. I should have got those little mini tables.
Yeah.
And put those in as well.
I think the extra spice, like the seasoning on top would be a little bit of seasoning
would have been good, yeah. And I think I actually asked you this, or my friend did, Yuri de Groot, who's a great guitar player from Belgium, who's sitting next to me when we watched you in Hollywood, giving that kind of seminar or whatever. He was like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? You're doing something where you're like doing this slide. And I was like the same. I was like, what are you doing there? Because it's so cool. And I've completely adopted that as my own thing. So now I'm talking about when you play a note and then you kind of seamlessly drag the other finger into the same note. You do that all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fluid. Yeah, I love it. I think that's something I've taken from you. I think I've taken bits from you, bits from Jeff Loomis. Yeah. So thanks for that one, dude.
That's what we all do, right? We're all a patchwork.
I got a quick question then. Let's try and do this really quickly. What was the first album you listened to that made you say "Holy shit"? And that's from Dan Marable.
Probably the first Yngwie Malmsteen, Rising Force.
Ah, yeah. Interesting. I would say for me it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I remember it well.
Oh,
I remember
sorry, wrong key. It's in E flat.
For me, I reckon now I have to do the rendition of my favorite album, which is "Bad" by Michael Jackson.
Oh,
that was the first album where I was like, "Oh my god!" And of course, I'm not going to play any of that on guitar because I don't know any. And "Beat It" wasn't on that one, so can't even play that solo. But yeah, that was the first one for me that blew my mind.
What songs are on
I
Bad?
would say.
Aside from
You've got
the title
Bad,
track.
Smooth Criminal. You've got Man in the Mirror, Dirty Diana, which is my favorite song of all time, probably. What else? Speed Demon. I don't know. I'm not going to remember all of them, but dude, that was a huge album. Yes, that's it. You got it.
I'm talking about the man in the mirror.
See, this is how good you are. You're even finding the spicy chords.
Yeah.
Amazing.